Before we begin, take a moment to like and subscribe. It helps stories like this reach the people who are still deciding whether to step forward. Alright, here's one. Eli had spent most of his career avoiding routes marked uncharted. Not out of fear exactly, out of logic. Uncharted meant unreliable data, unstable systems, too many variables. Predictability kept ships intact. Predictability kept pilots alive. So when the navigation display highlighted an unexplored corridor at the edge of known space, Eli did what he always did. He ignored it. Until the day the familiar routes began to feel smaller. The same paths, the same outcomes, the same quiet sense that something important was being missed. He stared at the star map longer than usual, watching known routes glow confidently while the uncharted blinked at the edge of the display, unnoticed and unresolved. That's when the thought surfaced. Not dramatic, not brave, just honest. What if safety wasn't the same as progress? Eli's fingers hovered over the controls. For a moment, he waited for confidence to arrive. It didn't. Instead, he felt something else. Not fear, not certainty, capability. And that was enough. He adjusted the course, not toward the safest route, not toward the familiar one, toward the uncharted coordinates. The navigation system hesitated, then confirmed the change. The engines responded, and the stars outside began to shift. Eli was already on his way. The ship didn't like the decision. Warnings surfaced across the console. Calibration delays, power fluctuations, nothing catastrophic. Just constant reminders that movement always reveals friction. The systems he'd relied on for years behaved differently out here. Assumptions stopped working. Old habits failed. Eli adjusted, then adjusted again. Each correction demanded attention, patience, presence. This was the part no one talks about, the quiet stretch after the decision where doubt doesn't shout but whispers. He could still turn back. The familiar routes were a command away. But turning back no longer felt safer. It felt smaller. So he stayed the course, not because he knew where it led, but because he trusted what he was becoming by continuing. Gradually, the ship steadied. Not perfectly, but enough. The uncharted wasn't dramatic. It was demanding, and Eli was learning how to meet it. Deep in the corridor, the sensors caught something irregular. A weak signal. Fragmented, easy to miss if you weren't paying attention. Eli slowed the ship. Drift debris came into view, scorched plating, a disabled vessel barely holding together. Inside were survivors, wounded, low on power, out of options. They hadn't been reckless, they hadn't failed. They had been stranded because no one believed this route was worth traveling. Eli brought his ship alongside theirs. He rerouted power, stabilized their systems, shared navigation data. He stayed longer than protocol required. No announcements followed, no recognition waited on the other end. But when the damaged ship powered up and slowly changed course, Eli felt something settle into place. The uncharted wasn't dangerous because it was empty. It was dangerous because people avoided it. Eli plotted a return path, marking the route he had taken. It wasn't straight, it wasn't efficient. But it mattered. As the stars drifted steadily past, Eli understood what he had found. Not a destination, not glory, trust in his own judgment, the ability to adapt without panic, the calm that comes from choosing direction over certainty. He had entered the uncharted searching for answers. What he discovered was capability,